Okay.
Uh, Khalid is not available in this session, but we continue with this and we can check the recording.
Okay.
Okay, so system development methodologies and learning outcome 2. The learning outcome 2 is be able to design an information system using software development methodologies, and in the learning outcome 1 we actually gave an introduction to these software lifecycle methods, and obviously data processing people organization management techniques were there. They come up, they become the part of the methodologies and methods itself. They have a broad terms like process oriented, object oriented, rapid application development. They are the core concepts, and among those core concepts, a list of many development methodologies fall, like uh, these methodologies basically fall, like waterfall, prototype, and these things, they fall uh, into these superficial processes like process oriented, object oriented, rapid development, agile, and these things. So now select a software excuse me, select a software development methodology to use when designing an information system and justify the selection. So after reading those software method development methodologies and according to the assignment, you will have to excuse me you will have to work on particular development. Use selected software development methodology to design an information system. So you need to select the particular development methodology, you need to design and evaluate the chosen software system development methodology. So this would have been really gone through the steps, your assessment, the case studies that you will do, and their advantages and disadvantages. Then you will have to come up through the uh, process of development and evaluation. So we start with these concepts. So this one is basically the LO2, which is the be able to design an information system using a development methodology. Let us see that what is the heavy versus lightweight. There are several methodologies for software development, but the most common among them are heavyweight and lightweight methodologies. So basically, when you are looking at the selection of the uh, methodology, you are classifying those methodologies into heavyweight or lightweight. So obviously there are certain weaknesses and strengths in both methodologies. Let us look at what they are. Heavy methodologies are considered to be traditional way of developing software. Traditional way, like a waterfall, you go through certain steps with a completed set of instructions and everything available at every stage, and then you move forward towards the towards those successive steps. Otherwise, you cannot go back to the previous stages without wasting time. So overall, like a waterfall, it had a disadvantage and advantage as well, but those are considered under the heavy weight. Heavyweight methodologies require defining the documenting a stable set of requirements at the beginning of a project. So obviously heavyweights come under the stable requirements, stable requirements means allowing the waterfall model and maybe the V-shaped model or incremental were somehow the extension of the waterfall model, but overall the heavyweight or the traditional one, and used only when the stable requirements are available. Next is lightweight methods. They are the agile methods. Emphasis working software as a primary measure of the progress. So as we discussed earlier, that progress is the matter. Progress in the iterations. Like lightweight methods have a little documentation, while develop software in short time boxes called iterations. So progress is the matter in the life cycle of the production. Like I gave an example in the previous session, that instead of waiting for the requirements, the developers could produce the immediate solution, the immediate prototypes to the customers without getting their complete or appropriate or relevant requirements. They show them and attract them that, okay, we have the solution we have created for you, and they would have an interest in hiring them. So lightweight methods work in this way, and so agile and other related methods, they come under the lightweight. Comparative analysis of lightweight development. If we look at the budget, the heavyweight strategies, the high budget allocation is done. In the lightweight strategies, low budgets are required. How? When you are dealing with the heavyweight strategies, it means you need to go through steps by step. Like in the waterfall model, you need to spend the resources on the complete resources on the requirement specification. Then you need to move forward to the design, and then you need to move to the implementation. Like in the width wise, you do not work in the height, you complete a width first, the part of the width, and another part of the width, and another part of the width, so that once you complete it, then you cannot say that, okay, this software is under testing, or the requirements needs to be modified. But every step to be carried out should have been done in the sequence. So obviously you need to spare the resources in advance, so high budget is required. However, if you want to start with the prototyping method, iterative methods, then probably, even if it is a very big project, then you can start with a very small quantity of the team members, and they can produce the prototype, and you can start with, and really can attract the market. And at the time of the start, you need only a low budget. Team size, obviously large team needed in advance. However, in the lightweight, small team size, a creative team which can quickly produce these in the prototypes. However, the budget itself, budget is the resources of the everything, software, the hardware required, or any resource in advance. In the heavyweight strategy and in the lightweight, no matter all the resources are available but can be started with. Project criticality. The heavy projects are the extremely critical, and lightweight strategies are the low critical. How? The critical is that any mistake being done at particular any phase is non-tolerable and cannot be modified, because the sequence of the development goes through in the waterfall, and you can only move forward into the next phase once you are complete. However, in the lightweight strategy, you are at the low risk, low critical, no matter the successive steps are whatever the critical, but those steps can be skipped, and every step can be touched and started being developed. Technologies used, the technologies used could be the process oriented, and the lightweight strategies involve the people oriented. How and why? Since the heavyweight strategies, they require a kind of process, and the process could take the lots of resources and processes to be available to the development team. However, if it is a lightweight process, then it will be the responsibility of the people to quickly produce something based on whatever the available resources are. It depends on the sharpness of the people, that how they produce as a lightweight strategy, are using the minimum technology, but the people attraction is more over there, while the technology used in the heavyweight, it is basically the process, and the process is really dependent on exact resources used. Documentation, explicit knowledge is required. However, in the lightweight strategies, people face-to-face communication is possible. So, if it is a heavyweight, then you need to document everything so that every phase could be the input to the next phase of the development, and explicit knowledge is basically the knowledge that you define in advance. However, in the lightweight, you do not really get any written documentation from the customers in advance, or maybe you do not provide them the initial documentation to the customers, but you focus on basically the production of the prototype in minimum time. So the documentation regarding the heavyweight and lightweight matters. Training. Heavy training is required as the software is developed, delivered once it is totally ready. So training. You can only produce a software once it has been designed, delivered, being prepared through a trained software development team. No any gaps would have been left. However, the training with lightweight strategies, as the development team and the customer are interacting with each other, they have a less training required. So, no matter if a junior software developer or new software developer or limited number of software developers, they are trained or not, but their interactivity with the clients, it helps them to reduce the need of the training for the development. So, training for the heavyweight strategies is important and mandatory. However, the lightweight strategy doesn't allow you to have a trained staff at every stage or every sort of the resource that is to be used. Best practices, lessons learned from heavyweight strategies, more emphasis on the process, hence no communication. So, if it is a heavy strategy, you are only focusing on the process and you don't have any communication in order to improve anything. However, the best practice or lessons learned using the lightweight strategies are face-to-face conversation between the clients and the team. So obviously you will have more and more lessons learned, best practices, and identification of any of the limitations from the requirements, from the design, from the implementation. Through the rapid prototyping, you come up with the lessons, or you come up with common mistakes, you come up with the best practices and you try to give them an experienced way of the current involvement of the team as well as the client. So regarding the lessons learned and best practices, the somehow the lightweight strategies have a more interactive way of learning as well as adopting the practice in a better way. However, in the heavyweight, you only focus on the process, and no matter whatever the strategy is being carried out, whether you get any lesson, you get any practice or not, but you are more oriented towards the process. And obviously, if you are involved into the process, then you cannot have the more communication. Tools and techniques. The traditional tools and techniques like waterfall model is used. However, new techniques like extreme programming, Scrum management is used. So really depends. Whatever the strategy is, you need to select the tool accordingly, and obviously the complexities of the tool are very much clear, but the advantages and disadvantages and the need of the tool is really distinguished according to the nature of the requirement. So whatever the requirement is to be dealt, then you are going to select that particular strategy accordingly. Existing processes, they are waterfall model, and in the lightweight strategy, there are extreme programming and Scrum programming. Software are the predictive, and the lightweight strategies, they have adaptive. The predictive software means that heavy strategies, they expect the prediction that which software they will be using, while the lightweight strategies, they allow you to select any software that is adaptable and usable. Obviously, the adaptable softwares would have been gone through certain low budget, low criticality, small size, and many more aspects which require less resources, budget, and documentation, training, and techniques. So that's about the difference between the lightweight and heavyweight, and there is no any rule that you must select the lightweight or must select the heavyweight. It really depends that how you want the strategy and what is the nature of the project, and really the project needs to be carried out after selecting the appropriate methodology by looking at its nature. So as we discussed the waterfall model, and it had some advantages and disadvantages in earlier, and here are more some theoretical backgrounds about the waterfall model. Now we little bit explain more about the rational unified process. The rational unified process, a software development methodology from rational based on UML. The UML is basically the unified modeling language. The analysis and design is basically the sketches, the representation of the system before its implementation. So the UML gives you the idea, gives you the way to represent your system in diagrams, that how the system should, what the system does, and how the system does, and how it looks like. So RUP, Rational Unified Process, they basically have given their own strategy, the methodology of the software development by incorporation of the UML, so that whoever is advising or using the rational unified process, they should use the UML in order to analyze and design the system, as well as to show the system using the diagrams of the UML. So RUP organizes the development of the software into 4 phases, each consisting of 1 or more executable iterations of software at the stage of the development. The first stage is inception. In this stage, the project business case is stated, that what has to be created, and the team decides if the project is worth doing or if it is even possible. So the RUP rational unified process says that whatever you are doing, you should go through the inception, look at its feasibility. Is it worth to do or not? At many cases, in many examples, what happens, the people start to develop a project and they never come up with a final solution, and finally what they do, they never use the software and they waste their resources, waste their efforts at all, and their development is never becomes useful. For example, if you started a project and that didn't work, however, the general softwares are already available in the market, maybe much more cheaper or maybe free. Those could do something more better than that you advise you want to implement by yourself. It is important to process to the first formulate the scope of the project and also determine what resources will be needed. Obviously, it is kind of similar to the spiral model. Then in the elaboration, in this stage, the developers take a closer look at the project to determine its architecture, foundation, and to evaluate the architecture in relation to the project. So, in the elaboration stage, the structure is identified with a closer look. The how foundation and evaluation of the architecture is, the architectural evaluation is done into the elaboration. Whatever the boundaries of the architecture are, they are identified. This stage is important to the RUP because it is here that developers analyze the risk associated with the changing scope of the project or adding new technologies along them. So elaboration evaluates that what is the architecture and whether the architecture is complete or it can rise any new changes maybe in the future. So be very much clear about it. The construction. The construction, in this stage, the development of project is completed. Basically, the application design is finished and source code is written. In this stage, the software is tested to determine if the project has met its goals laid out in the inception phase. So, construction is basically the reflection of the inception, whether when you identified to go ahead with a particular project or not. The construction really gave the output of the inception. The transition itself, in this stage, any fine tuning is performed. Any final adjustments can be based on user feedback, usability or installation issues. So transition, in this stage, any fine tuning is performed. Any final adjustments can be based on user feedback, user or installation issue. Spiral model, we discussed earlier this one, and some more theoretical backgrounds on the spiral model. The reason this topic is included because the learning outcome they wanted to be under the particular category. So I have included, but the concept has already been discussed. Few more things, theoretical options, theoretical background about the spiral model. Agile, we discussed little bit more about the agile, but let us see more in detail here. Agile software development refers to a group of software development methodologies based on iterative development. So whenever you are not dealing with the traditional software development, you are dealing with the iterative development. It means you are in the age of agile software development, where the requirements and solutions evolve through the collaboration between self-organizing cross-functional teams. So every time the users, the clients of the software as well as developers, they have a cross-functional organization, like they have a interactive relationships with team as well as the clients. They are working together to produce the system in iterative development. So the possible methods, the most popular methods of the agile technologies, the agile methodologies are Scrum, extreme programming, adaptive software development, dynamic system development methodologies. The Scrum itself is an agile software development model on multiple small teams working in an intensive and independent manner. So when it says Scrum, then it's in the Scrum, every team is working on its own part. Like in the previous session, the picture illustrated into the boxes, everyone is working on their own. In simple words of hundreds, Scrum is an agile process that allows to focus on delivering the highest business value in the shortest time. How it is possible? It is possible that instead of, for example, one person working on a project on every phase, like if there are 7 phases of the, let's say, 6 maybe less, requirements, analysis, design, implementation, testing, and maintenance. If there are 6 phases and one person is doing all the 6 phases, then obviously you are getting the project in the not in the shorter time. But if you are doing the agile, and agile is allowing you to work on the software development in a team base and in the iterations, then you are getting the workforce in a shorter time. Obviously, if you want to get that building done by one labor, then they will develop in 100 days. But if you want the building being developed by 10 laborers, 10 workers, then you can build the building in 10 to 20 days. That's a natural fact. It allows a rapid and repeatedly it allows to rapidly and repeatedly inspect actual work software every 2 weeks to 1 month, because you have a bigger team and they can inspect their components individually and quickly, and maybe every 2 weeks they can review it. The business sets its priorities. Team self-management to determine the best way to deliver highest priority features. So it really depends on the teams, whoever is working on them. They really want to define, they want to manage by themselves that whatever the way is, they have to produce the highest priority features. They are not being interfered with anyone else, or maybe they are not interfered with anyone ideas, but they will be working on their own. Every 2 weeks to a month, anyone can see a real working software and decide to release it as it is completed or continue to enhance for another iteration. Scrum framework is based on the roles. You can see that product owner, Scrum master, team, ceremonies, sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, daily Scrum meeting, artifacts, product backlog, sprint backlogs. These are basically the technical terms related with the Scrum framework. You will only need to go through into the details if you are choosing this particular framework, the methodology as an agile software development, and then you follow and go ahead. Extreme programming is a software development methodology which is intended to improve the software quality and responsiveness to changing customer requirements. As a type of software, agile software development, it advocates frequent releases and short development cycles, which is intended to improve productivity and introduce checkpoints at which new customer requirements can be adapted. So Extreme programming is an agile methodology, software development methodology which intends to improve software quality and responsive changing customer requirements. Responsive changing customer requirements means you should select this methodology where you expect that customer requirements are not very much clear and there is much more possibility that requirements can be changed, and every time you need to be careful very much about the changing requirements. So extreme programming is suggested. However, as a type of agile software, it advocates frequent releases in short development cycles, which is intended to improve productivity and introduce checkpoints at which new customer requirements can be adapted. What are checkpoints? Basically, the checkpoints are the particular code breaks. For example, if your functionality is to be implemented by writing the 100 lines of codes, then after reviewing the changing requirements, you wanted to complete, or you wanted the, for example, 25 lines as an approved code or functionality, then you can place a checkpoint at the line of the 25th code, and then you are done. And any functionality to be verified will have a checkpoint as well as a breakpoint into the programming, so that you can further move. So obviously, the extreme programming is a kind of incremental development. It allows you to implement the software into the increments, but using the certain checkpoints, so that a checkpoint should have been passed and more checkpoints should have been implemented. Again, selecting and evaluating the methodology. The evaluation of the particular methodology depends on these factors, and these factors will really help you to evaluate the particular methodology. And the factors or the criteria for evaluating the methodology are that how the usable method is, how the understandability of the method is, how the documentation is evaluable, buildability of the methodology, installability of the methodology, the installability of the software provided by particular methodology, learnability, sustainability, maintainability, and testability. So by looking at these criterion for all the aspects, you can evaluate the particular methodology and see which methodology is good for you and evaluatable. Evaluation is basically proving that how the methodology is sustainable, effective, and proved. So it's the end of the session now. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Hello?
Hi, sir. No, there is no question.
Yeah, I understand that there are, at the moment, you don't have any question, but I expect there are a lot of questions, but those questions can be those questions are understandable once you will start your assignments and look at certain case studies. Then you will come up with many questions, and I would advise you to go through the assignments and see how you can solve your assignments by looking at the lecture material and the existing case studies relevant to the assignments. And you are most welcome to ask any questions by email or in any way. You are most welcome. So I end this session now, and I would see you next week. Yeah?
Yeah, you can.
Okay then. See you
Okay.
next.
Thanks for your time. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.